Hello, and welcome to another edition of Speaking with the Principal. I'm Ron Stromensky, principal of Wakefield High School, and it's good to have you with us today. With me in studio is a member of the Wakefield High School Guidance Department. She, in fact, is with us for the first year this year, and I've invited her to join me today to share with you some exciting news about some exciting events that are coming up and to also get to know Miss Melissa Butaro. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Melissa came to us from Newburyport High School to Wakefield this year and Coventry High School. After how many years in each place, Melissa?
A year at Newburyport and 5 years in Coventry.
So well experienced, and for those of you who have sons and daughters at the high school, Melissa may in fact have already made your acquaintance. I hope that you have. But there's something else that Melissa is involved in here at Wakefield High School that we want to talk about today, and that is that Melissa has brought with her some experience in dealing with diversity organizations, and we're quite excited about that. Some impressions of Wakefield High School before we get started as we lead into diversity, Melissa.
Ooh, on the spot.
On the spot.
I've actually enjoyed my time at Wakefield so far. Lots of great kids here, lots of great faculty, supportive administration, lots of good things going on, opportunities for improvement, and also adding things that are working and working on things that might not be working so well. So I think a lot of flexibility and freedom to get the job done here. It's been a nice place to be.
Oh, great. You said that exactly the way I wrote it for you. Actually, Melissa came to me and said, I think that it would be great if we could put together a diversity organization, a club to sort of promote better understanding among everyone in the school community. Did you, in fact, advise a diversity club in your previous schools?
Yeah, at Newburyport we had a diversity club. We started off similarly as we did here at Wakefield. We attended the World of Difference conference at the Fleet Center in Boston, which brought a ton of students from local schools and far-reaching schools. Any school in Massachusetts was essentially invited, middle school and high schools, private schools, Catholic schools, temple schools. So it was basically like being in a big basketball game at the Fleet Center, just tons and tons of kids as far as you could see. So it was very fun and very exciting, but not a lot of opportunity for interaction. So the next trip that we took here at Wakefield to kind of move us on was we went to a workshop at Salem State on understanding race, ethnicity, and culture. And that was much more interactive. We worked with kids from St. John's Prep and Lynn Classic, Linfield, Marblehead, Lowell, Lawrence. And that was real interactive. Kids got to work with students from other areas and other schools and other backgrounds, and it was really a blast. And it really got kids psyched up. I mean, on the bus ride back, that's all people would do, would talk about, what are we going to do at Wakefield? When are we going to start a club? What are we going to get going? So it's really, there's been a lot of interest in getting something going here.
What kind of response initially did you have from the Wakefield High School student body in terms of kids wanting to, you put out a call, anyone interested, and tell us about that?
I would say the response has been really good. Certainly the trip to the Fleet Center was very well responded to because it meant getting out of school for the day. But when the next trip we had was on a Saturday, it really kind of made you realize, okay, who's really committed to this? Who is willing to give up an entire Saturday to come to this workshop? And there were actually many kids who wanted to, but either had jobs or other responsibilities, so I can totally understand that. But once we started advertising the club and started having meetings, we've got over 60 kids that are actively participating in the diversity club. The important thing that I stress to all of them is it's never too late to join. So come on down today, come on down 2 years from now, and you're still a part of the club. The other important thing is that no commitment is too great or too small. There are students who are active with the diversity club but can't make a meeting because they've got drama or work or athletics or some other activity, and that's fine. The most important thing is that they have the attitude and the conviction to be involved and to take a stand against prejudice and discrimination. So we really do. We have an active group of about 60, and 3 more kids came down today to sign up for it. So it's really nice. A lot of fluidity and membership and kids coming down and signing up.
And one of the things that we're planning here at Wakefield High School in conjunction with the Diversity Club that you've just heard about is a World of Difference Diversity Week, which is going to take place actually for an entire school week here at Wakefield High School, beginning on Monday, April 7th. Let's talk about some of the activities that are going to take place.
Okay, well, it's going to be great. We've got each day set aside for each class except for Wednesday. So for example, on Monday, the sophomores will be trained, so to speak. They'll be attending their diversity workshop. Each grade will be divided up into two groups, and they'll get some information from Mr. Straminsky on some of the harassment policies and hate crime issues that we're going to try to deal with in our student handbook, possibly for next year, explaining how we're going to be handling issues like this in school. Then we'll also have some trainers come in from the Project Alliance and the District Attorney's Office to talk to kids about issues that go on outside of school and the legal ramifications if something goes on. They're going to be showing a film that Peter Jennings did on cultural differences and why we look the way we do based on our ancestry, things like that, showing some stories, some vignettes about kids and how they've experienced prejudice and discrimination. And then we're going to break down into small groups, and we're going to provide each, probably groups of 10 or so, and going off, each will have their own table. And we'll be giving them some scenarios of some examples of things that have either happened at the high school or that might have happened outside of school that they've dealt with. And we just want the kids to talk about the scenario. Is this an act of hate? Is this a hate crime? Is this just a harmless prank? Is this a funny joke, et cetera, and how would you handle that? How could you do that differently? Stuff like that. And what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to have these groups led by other students. We will certainly be around and available and accessible in case somebody gets stuck or in case something gets out of hand, but you know, we'd like the kids to work together with other students. So we're getting students from the Diversity Club, from peer leaders, peer mediators, and other student organizations to help facilitate these small groups. And then in addition to the trainings that have already been set up and formalized, the Diversity Club is trying to get some activities off the ground. We're planning a mural for the cafeteria. We're planning on a big banner to put up in the hallway. We'd like to have an anti-hate pledge that kids can sign. And then we've got some rainbow ribbons that we're going to pass out once kids sign the pledge, and they can wear the rainbow ribbons for the week or put them on their knapsack for the year. Or I've got mine in my visor in my car from last year. And we're hoping maybe to integrate some speakers, some musical presentations, some films, videos. And I'd like to hopefully get the cafeteria involved to maybe serve some ethnic meals that week and kind of pump in some music into the cafeteria. And work with the librarians on maybe putting out some diversity-themed books and posters and stuff in the library, just to make it a huge event that the entire school can participate in. And hopefully it'll be something that, you know, it's like Black History Month. We don't want to just say that this is Black History Month and it's 1 month. We want stuff like that to be integrated year-round. So that's something we'd like to see eventually happen.
In addition to involving the students during Diversity Week, we should hasten to add that there are 2 other elements that we are planning during that week. One is doing some work with our faculty, with the District Attorney's Office on Monday afternoon. Our entire faculty and staff will be involved in receiving information and talking about some of the issues that confront us, both legal and within school and just human kinds of issues. And then we have a special invitation that we want to send out to you, those of you who are watching us right now on cable television. And that is during a Thursday of that week, which is the 10th of April, in the Wakefield High School Volpe Library, we will be hosting a community forum on a world of difference and diversity, which will allow for, again, some of the people who have been working with us from the District Attorney's Office, also some community leaders and others, including students, who will get together here to talk about diversity and to talk about an appreciation for diversity and to share some of the same kinds of information that we will have for faculty and for students with members of the community. And we would really love to have you join us on Thursday, April 10th at 7 o'clock. I think that it would be wonderful to have so many people. We don't have enough chairs.
That'd be great.
Wouldn't that
Standing room only.
Tell me a little more about this banner that you plan as a diversity club to put up. Is that the one that you talked about having kids sign on the banner, or no?
Well, I guess there are different ways of doing it. We'd like to maybe have a banner that would just be hung in the front foyer there where people walk in, so anybody who walks into the building will be able to see that we're celebrating our Week of Difference. We had some kids working on the mural after school yesterday, and they came up with some really great ideas. And then as far as the pledge goes, the way we worked it at Newburyport is we took the World of Difference pledge, which essentially pledges against discrimination or prejudice of any kind. We just enlarged it, and we put it on a big, huge background. And kids, at Newburyport, we had it in the hallway, and every time kids came through, they could see it. I think at Wakefield, it would make more sense to do it during lunch. And just put it up on the wall, and when kids come by, they read it. If it's something they agree to, then they can sign their name to it, and they get the ribbon to wear for the week. And again, it's logistics and how we can work it out, but that's how we did it before. And that way, you know, we keep it on display for a little while and encourage kids, you know, hey, there you signed. And, you know, sometimes when a kid walks by in the hallway and makes a comment that you find inappropriate, you can say, don't you remember signing that pledge? It's like, oh, yeah, sorry. You know, it's just kind of brings things back and reminds them of what they really agreed to do.
I thought it was interesting in meeting with some of the people who helped us to plan this week, and we've been doing planning for several weeks for this event, was that as we sat there, and these people who helped us are not Wakefield people, but as they observed the nature of our school, they began to point out a lot of things that make people different even though they may be of the same race, which was very fascinating, and I'm sure you've had experience with.
Yeah, I agree. That's very important to point out. Newburyport was a predominantly white community as well, even more so than Wakefield. And sometimes people say, well, geez, we're a really white school. I mean, what kind of diversity do we have? And the comment is somewhat hurtful in one of two ways. First of all, it almost negates the fact that we do have students of color here, and they are here. Some of them come from Boston, and some of them live in town, and it's very important to recognize that, yes, we do have color diversity in the building. And when we go into our white population, Kate Schluter, who's working with us on Project Alliance, made a very good point. She says, even whiteness embraces diversity. You can look at sexual orientation, you can look at religion, you can look at learning styles or disabilities, you can look at height and weight, style of music and clothing. Those are all things that students and adults are discriminated on against. One of the projects we did do is the Diversity Club passed out questionnaires through the social studies classes so that kids could explain what they see going on at Wakefield in terms of discrimination. And certainly all those elements were mentioned. Some of the more striking ones, a lot of kids mentioned discrimination and harassment based on appearance and weight. So that goes across the color barriers. Religion is out there. A lot of discrimination based on either sexual orientation or perceived sexual orientation. So there is a lot of diversity within this building that is based on a lot of factors other than color of skin.
And in fact, our objective in doing this is to heighten awareness, is it not?
Yeah, heighten awareness, and I guess it's just respect in general. You know, if you can be nice to people based on their race, or regardless of their race, or their religion, or their cultural background, then why can't you just be nice to them if they're overweight, or if they have a learning disability? It boils down to just basic respect for people's differences.
I can remember when I was young having to get glasses. And I didn't want to get glasses because back then, we don't see it. It may, in fact, happen at an elementary level. We obviously don't see it at a high school level. But the hurtful comments if you wore glasses. And as a young child, I didn't want to wear glasses because kids were going to make fun of me. And I'm sure those who might be overweight or not heavy enough or look a little different, many times quietly suffer the pangs of comments and actions. And we want everyone to be a little more aware of other people's feelings.
Exactly.
I guess really is what we're trying to achieve by doing this. Yeah. So again, the program will be the week of April 7th, and we'll be working with each class an entire morning from beginning at 7:30 right up until lunchtime on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Monday afternoon, our faculty will be involved, and on Thursday night, which is April 10th at 7 p.m. We want to, again, invite you, if you tuned in late, be sure to write it on your calendar. We would like to have you come and be a part of the discussion in terms of the Wakefield community. We'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions. We'd like to share with you what we are doing in Wakefield High School, not just as a school community, but as a community at large, because in fact, that is the important element that we're talking about, and there needs to be a certain togetherness and understanding beyond the walls of the school. Right. And we need everyone's help.
Very true.
Not just the kids and the teachers and the coaches and the parents and everyone. We are, in fact, a large family. And I think, especially in small towns, there's a feeling of great closeness as opposed to the cities. Right. And sometimes when you're smaller, the problems can be magnified. Newburyport was a relatively small community also.
Yeah, very small, yeah. And you know, our goal is very similar to the goals we had at Newburyport, is not just to keep our message within the confines of the high school, but we'd really like to do some peer educating and bring our message down to the middle school, have our club members working with middle school students and elementary school students, and just explaining what we're doing here. And also, and eventually get it out into the community. One of the films that we're hoping to use at some point during the week is a film called Not in Our Town, and it's about Billings, Montana, and how they had endured a series of hate crimes based on a variety of different ethnic backgrounds and religions, and how the community just came together and said, this isn't going to work, we're not going for this, and how the community banded together to fight these crimes. And one of the nice wrap-ups, the conclusion of the movie, is that, you know, hate crimes were down to 0 by the end of the film. Now, it's not a pretty little package. I'm sure that these incidents can arise, but what they've done is they've solidified their community. And as a community, they've said, no, we're not putting up with this. So if there is an incident, the entire community is going to band together to fight that. It's not going to be one group saying, well, it was anti-Semitic, so it's not just the temple coming in to say, hey, this isn't cool, or the synagogue coming in, or the rabbis taking a stand. It's going to be the entire community coming in and saying, you can't do this here. And that's something that we'd like to foster here in Wakefield.
Okay. Well, we're going to look forward to it, and we want to remind you, if you are not going to be available on the evening of Thursday, April 10th, that we plan to videotape the community forum.
Great.
And to bring it to you right here on our school channel. So we're going to try to reach out even to those people who, for one reason or another, are not going to be able to join us on that evening. Mm-hmm. We also should hasten to add that during the month of April, throughout the country, in fact, World of Difference activities are going on.
Yep.
And you may be reading about various and sundry activities in neighboring communities during different weeks during the month of April.
Yes.
Melissa, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited about the week and looking forward to it.
Yeah, we all are.
And we're looking forward to seeing you Thursday, April 10th at 7 o'clock in the Volpe Library. For Melissa Butaro, I'm Ron Struminski, and thanks for joining us.